Let me guess, you're drowning in prep books, taking endless practice tests, and feeling more overwhelmed by the day. You're putting in the hours, but your LSAT score is stuck. Sound familiar? Here's the thing no one tells you. Working harder isn't the solution. It's not about how many practice tests you take or how many hours you spend highlighting. It's about focusing on what actually matters, and most students are focusing on all the wrong things. Today, I'm sharing a step-by-step plan to score a 175. This is the same plan I personally used to go from a 152 to a 175, and the same framework my students use to consistently crush the LSAT. You'll find out how to study smarter, not harder, and you'll walk away with a clear strategy to maximize your score. Before we dive in, for those who don't know me, my name is Steve Schwartz. When I first started studying for the LSAT, I was exactly where you might be right now, stuck in the low 150s and frustrated out of my mind. But I figured out what worked, and after months of dedicated studying, I scored a 175. Now, since 2005, I've helped thousands of students do the same. I know exactly what works and what doesn't, and today, I'm sharing the 5-step framework I call the LASER approach. LASER is an acronym standing for Learning, Accuracy, Sections, Exams and Endurance, and Review. This is not just another generic study plan. It's designed to help you focus on what moves the needle and skip the fluff. The first step is learning, where you build a rock-solid foundation. That's where it all starts. Before you worry about timing or strategies, you've got to actually understand the test. And I'm not talking about skimming through a prep book or watching a couple of videos. I mean truly mastering the fundamentals. Now, here's what that looks like in practice. For logical reasoning, this is 2/3 of your score, so you've got to understand how to analyze arguments, spot assumptions, and evaluate conclusions. But you can't neglect reading comp either. Reading comp kills most students because they treat it like high school English. But you've got to read strategically and anticipate the kinds of questions you'll face on test day. You've also got to master the test maker's perspective. Because the LSAT isn't random, it's not some dumb test that doesn't test anything at all. It's a predictable exam created by people who think in patterns. And the better you understand those patterns, the easier it becomes. But whatever you do, you can't rush through the fundamentals. Most students make the mistake of skipping this phase entirely or rushing through it, but that's like trying to build a house on quicksand. You've got to take the time to learn the basics deeply before you move on. Then, once you understand the fundamentals, it's time to focus on phase 2, accuracy. This is where you go deep on individual question types and learn how to solve them with confidence. Now, here's what I recommend. First, drill by question type. Start with the most common logical reasoning types like necessary assumption, inference, and flaw. Once you've mastered those, you can then move on to the less frequent ones. But forget about timing, at least for now. Your goal at this stage should be to hit 80% accuracy for each question type. The timing will come later in the next phase. But you've also got to track your mistakes. Keep a log of every question that you get wrong and why. The key to improvement is learning from your mistakes. Now, let me share a quick story. One of my students, Mary, was stuck in the 150s. She felt like she was working hard, but she wasn't improving. But after we implemented this accuracy-focused approach, her score started climbing. By breaking down each question type, focusing on her weak areas, and learning from her mistakes, she jumped to a 164 in 2 months and eventually hit a 170 on test day. Now, if you want similar results, if you're aiming for a 170 plus, my team and I can help. You could check out the links below to book a call and find out more about our coaching programs and how they can serve you on your LSAT journey. Now, the third phase is where we step it up with individual timed sections. You want to master the timing and master the pacing with timed 35-minute chunks that mimic sections of the real test. Your goal here is to, of course, get comfortable with the pacing. Let me give you 3 simple strategies to improve your timing. First, front load your time. Logical reasoning questions start easy and they get harder as the section goes on. Aim to finish the first 10 questions in about 10 minutes so that you'll have more time for the tougher ones later. The second strategy is strategic flagging. If a question feels confusing or time-consuming, flag it and move on. Don't let one single question derail your entire section. The third strategy is the 2-pass method. For reading comp, you first read the passage quickly to get the main idea, then you go back, to specific lines as you need to. Think of this like running a race. You don't need to sprint the whole time, but you also don't want to stop and analyze every step. It's all about finding a rhythm that works for you. Now, after this phase, you'll be ready to tackle full-length practice tests with step 4, exams and endurance, the E in the laser approach. This is where you build endurance and get comfortable with the mental demands of the LSAT by simulating test day itself. Now, here's how you do it. You want to take at least 10 full-length timed exams where you simulate the real conditions by following the official schedule, 2 sections, a 10-minute break, then 2 more sections. Of course, after each test, you want to analyze your performance, spend some time reviewing your results and spotting areas for improvement. You also, of course, want to build up your stamina because the LSAT is a mental marathon and you want to stay sharp on test day. Imagine walking into the LSAT feeling calm, focused, and ready, like it's just another practice test. That's the goal of this step. But the final phase, step 5, is review. This is the most important and the most overlooked step in the process. Most students skip it entirely, and that's why they stay stuck. But review is where the magic happens. That's where you analyze your mistakes, refine your strategies, and get better. Now, here's how to review like a pro. First, you got to ask the right questions, like, why did I choose the wrong answer? Why is the right answer right? And what trap did I fall into? But you've got to review not just the ones you got wrong, but also the ones you guessed on, the ones that felt tricky, even if you got them right. Then, of course, you want to track your patterns because over time, as you engage in review, you'll see patterns in your mistakes, and you can use that data to adjust your approach. Now, to make this process even easier, I've created a free Easy LSAT cheat sheet with my top strategies for each section. It's packed with actionable tips to boost your score, and you can get your copy for free using the link below this video. Now, to recap, the laser approach is 1, learning, where you build a strong foundation, 2, accuracy, where you drill by question type and master the details. Step 3 is S for sections, where you practice timed sections to improve your pacing. Step 4 is E for exams and endurance, where you take full-length timed exams to build up your stamina. And finally, step 5, review, where you analyze your mistakes and refine your strategy. Now, if you're ready to adopt this approach, if you want to stop wasting time and you want to start seeing real results, my team and I can help. You could book a call with us, the link below this video, and we'll help you create your personalized LSAT study plan. Remember, nobody gets a 175 by accident. It's not about luck. It's all about having the right plan and putting in the work. Anyway, folks, that's all for now. In the meantime, I'll wish you all the best and take care.